Dear friends, dear Americans, Europeans, world citizens, universe, do you ever feel like you've been waiting for the best year of your life for the past 1, 2, maybe 5 years, and yet there is always a challenge to arise? There's war in the world, maybe, and it's breaking your heart, or maybe your neighbor or your child or yourself are sick, or maybe you miss family. I'm thinking of immigrants or refugees. How can we thrive in our lives while it is rarely perfect? The answer in one word, faith. Okay. The hope that our dreams are possible, that you're working every day to build every tiny bit or maybe giant rock, of your vision. Well, Mr. Tony Robbins is the one who initiated a worldwide empowering movement of people who believe in themselves, in each other, and join forces to make it happen by delivering tools and strategies. Thriving businesses, a clean environment, or simply trusting in the process. Tony Robbins and his team, they are the one who accompanied me every single day for the past few years to believe in the magic of new beginnings, to never give up. So in 2021, I think, I told Tony Robbins that he should run for president in 2024. And he sent me smoke signals back and said, let's do it. I'll do it. So now here we are. It is 2024. This is the year. So I would like to be the first one to launch this election campaign. It's, if you can follow the hashtag Tony Robbins 2024, you're going to see that I started putting this out in 2021, 2022, 2023. It's been 2-3 years, and this is when we really started getting interested in politics, in the work of our president Joe Biden and his administration, and starting elaborating plans on how to finish the job and establish a continuity between all the work that's been done in terms of ecology, economy, culture for the past few years. So I wrote a little article called The 7 Reasons Why You Should Vote for Tony Robbins in 2024. So I'm going to give you a little presentation of all these reasons. So the first reason is his journey and economical background and mastery. Economical, sorry, I can barely speak English, but I'm trying. He always says, I come from nothing. He struggled when he was a child and during the beginning of his career, and he started mentoring people. He started something new that didn't really exist before, and he built a multi-million-dollar empire, and I don't know how many company that he has, 60 or hundreds maybe of companies that are all based on improving people's lives, either through mentoring or health or business, sports players that he's coaching. So that being a president, the first concern is the economy, how to boost people's income. But before you can boost their income, you have to boost their mindset, like I was saying before. Believing that you can is the first step, because there is so much, mostly with the social media, everything that we see around it. It's too easy to feel overwhelmed and give up, and if you have a nationwide mindset of go-getters and it's possible, this is how the entire society is going to change. And they have a whole community that they're promoting all the time who have done it, so show that it is possible. Okay, but through all their trainings and books, they give you the tools, the strategies that you can use to do it. if you're beginning in your own, in having your own business, for example. But also, if you own a company, you're also in charge of all of your employees, how to establish a business, a corporate culture where people are thriving. You don't need to have your own business, okay, to be a part of society. You can be a part of a corporation or a school or something that you believe in, and you want to be the best, but you need to have also an amazing corporate culture so you can be happy to go and work for someone else, you know? Number two, his kindness. His kindness, him and Sage Robbins, his wife, they are basically saints, even though they're not from New Orleans, but they really are rocking this world with the power of the heart. This is what touched me the most with them, is their kindness and mindfulness, always incorporating psychology into their strategies. Because you can't just say this is a process to go get something and putting aside all the problems, the feelings, the emotions, the dramas, the traumas, the stories, the ambitions, the enthusiasm, the excitement that people are going through. And not everybody manages it the same way. You know, I'm a school teacher, and sometimes kids that are so excited, so enthusiastic, they have all this positive energy, but that's not always positive because they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to stay seated in a chair all day. They don't know how to stay quiet and respect other people talking. So everything is amplified, you know, with our super consciousness era where we live in right now. So everything is in constant evolutions. All of the strategies also evolve with the profile of the population. And so here I come to the third reason on why to vote for Tony Robbins in 2024 is their multi-generational audience and family. They have trainings for business owners, for teenagers, family and relationships, which obviously includes also little ones. They have themselves little ones and older kids. So they are, him and Sage Robbins, they are surrounded by all the generations, which is so important because the problems that you encounter at different ages or stages of your life are not going to be the same. A student is starting in life, they have to face student debt problems already, first thing, housing, and starting a career, showing credibility, how to sell yourself. Someone who is older and has a career, maybe they have accumulated mortgages and debts and they have to provide for their children. So it's even more responsibilities and commitments, and they have to deal with their retirement. Are they going to be able to benefit retirement? And how about health insurance? So all these areas, you can't forget, you can't leave anyone behind. That is their motto. We're not leaving anyone behind. Everyone belongs. So that's one of their profiles that makes them perfect, because it's not just going to be a decade for business owners or a decade for the big corporations, big pharma and stuff like that. This is going to be an era where everybody contributes and invests into each other. His last book, by the way, The Holy Grail of Investing. I always say that the new economy is going to be a circular economy. There's no more triangular economy or bottom up or top down or whatever kind of vertical transactions that we have, but a circular where we invest into each other, and this business invest into this business and this family, and we support. And this way there cannot be one foundation that crashes, because we are a net, okay? We are the network and supporting each other. So and taking responsibility for each other, you know. Society is constantly telling you that you have to be independent. It's almost a weakness to depend on other people. But when you look at chemistry, at science, and the essence itself of life and the world, everything interdependent. Everything, chemistry, photosynthesis, for example, it's molecules of carbon dioxide and water that mix up together and cross over and transform into the exact same components into a different order that forms oxygen and glucose. Okay, what happened? Interdependence. It's that operates a chemical reaction, and everything that you see in the microcosm is also true. As I observed personally, maybe you have a different experience, but everything that I've studied for science that happens in the microcosm is also very representative of how we order our society, our relationships. So maybe this is why it hasn't been working for everybody, because, of course, you have free electrons, you know, that are independent, and no, electrons are negative. I'm not saying it's negative, but more of this selfish attitude, like yeah, you have to be selfish sometimes, but you know, this depending on each other is a weakness. No, I think it's beautiful. Now you look at the atoms in the nucleus, and they're interdependent, okay, to form this nucleus. And this is also a part of the system, a family, a wife that relies on her husband to raise the kids. The husband could not be working if he didn't have someone to raise the kids for him. Or I don't know, like I'm thinking of power plants and stuff like that. We talk about being self-sufficient, but nothing is self-sufficient because we're always relying on the environment. So what is it that we put out and pollute and consume is also what nature is going to give back, because there is always an equilibrium. So anyways, why am I saying this? Back to the topic. Number 4, the first lady. Sage is so wonderful. It's her softness. She has this natural charisma and elegance and softness that makes you feel at home and comfortable, in confidence, in trust, you know, when she starts talking. And I think America needs this. We've been lucky and blessed with our first ladies for the past decade. We had wonderful, dynamic, smart and funny first ladies, and I think she'll be the perfect continuity of that and bringing the new spirituality, also something that is rarely being demonstrated in political fields. It's like, you know, oh, science and spirituality, these are two different things. Political, you have to talk about economics and be realistic, but now more and more we realize that all the realms are entangled, and that the peace of mind often is the starting point to the peace in your community, and then in the world, and then in your finances, and then in your relationships, and in your inspiration, unlocking a lot of things like that. So, and they've been together all their life and supporting each other. They're really the model of the family and showing an example. You know, of course, you don't need to correspond to a pattern, a model or a perfect image, you know, to be the president. But it's also this dream vision that everybody wants to have. So maybe inspiring you to make the effort to make it happen in your own life as well, and to work for it, and not taking it for granted. Number 5, his vocation to do good. Really, since his childhood, one day someone delivered a meal for him for Thanksgiving, and he started believing that strangers care, and then he started trying to feed people on his way. And now look, I want to show you an image. An image speaks 1,000 words. I want to show you. So here you have, you're gonna read my article. I'm gonna post it. You have a beautiful article. This is Sage and Tony Robbins. And I want to show you this image. This is Tony Robbins with his goal of feeding a billion people through Feeding America. Every time they do training, live trainings, and they sell you a VIP package, this is money that is redistributed for Feeding America or for a cause that they support. So, but look at his face. Like, this touched me so much when I saw this picture, because it's really like the look of the child that fulfilled his dream. Look, that's what I see. I see the child with this giant dream that just accomplished his dream and built an empire, but so proud, like emotion and pride, and he went through it. He achieved it. Like, imagine a billion meal, you would give up because it's too much. You can't fulfill that. But he did it. He went. So that shows his commitment to start and to finish until the goal is reached. And for seeing them work in their training, constantly refreshing, updating their training, and how they follow up their with people by sending you emails, and their team reaching out to you. And I can tell you, they're not gonna give up on you until the work is done, until they know where you're supposed to be. And that's caring. Like, why do they care? You're a millionaire. Live your life. Go to the beach. You don't have to take care of other people. You can just buy real estate and live off of your benefits for the rest of your life. But no, they take all their time, all their energy, all their money, their investments to impact other people so they can also find this level of happiness. Why? Because he knows what it feels like when he was a child to have this stress, this drama in the family. And I can tell you myself as well, I will never forget what it feels like when you can't buy food, and the stress of what am I gonna do next month. And I will never forget. It's just to talk about it, I have this knot in my throat, and then I feel like you make it like a mission, and then you see other people in the world who are like don't have shelter or at war and wounded, and they're still building weapons. And so I'm like overwhelmed. You can't let that happen, and maybe they say that every piece of your journey is meant to make you who you are and in your mission. And even though I don't like to accept that, because I don't think we need to grind to appreciate what we have or to become a better person or a stronger person, I don't believe this. But for sure, you care a whole lot more, because you can't accept that someone else is going through this, because nobody should. It's like when... No, let's not talk about that. Let's stay focused. But he wrote books, his trilogy, Money Mastery, Business Mastery, the last one, The Holy Grail of Investing. Last year he wrote Life Force, which is actually, I should bring it. Here it is. life force, where he's talking about regenerative medicine. And this is very detailed, this is very specific. The new techniques, the new supplements, where to look, how to, for example, doing a blood test can tell you what you're missing, what you're lacking. And then they offer, of course, the vitamins. They don't only point out the problem, but they offer the solution as well. This is also another book I recommend while I'm at it, for families. It's called Naturally Healthy Babies and Children by Aviva Jilrom. I bought this from a herbalist when I was pregnant, because I was really, really scared of medicines and drugs. So I really did plants and everything natural as much as possible. And this really helped me know a lot more about plants, teas, infusions, and what are the properties. So for example, 2 things I always have in my house is arnica oil and echinacea, because echinacea is the plant that is the most efficient, beneficial for the immune system, so protects you against viruses. And arnica oil because for bumps, when my son fell a lot when he was young, and like in the movie, like you see the bump like coming out of you, ding, of your thing, I would put arnica oil on it, and in like 5 minutes it would resorb. And this is really magical. So these 2 things, vocation, to do good, and of course the billion meals that they distributed. And so that is one of the things that touched me, and I think we need this in our government, because when I don't like to criticize. I don't like when politics are criticizing each other. I prefer, what's happening with Barack Obama and Joe Biden and us, like really uplifting each other and for continuity, and admire the admiration that is born from that. But when I see like Donald Trump talking about immigrants and the supporters, like, oh, we have to put the electrified fence between Mexico and the United States, like treating people like animals. And don't forget that America is a country of immigrants. Like, this is America, is immigration. So borders is something that's always been very irrelevant to me. Of course, you need borders to govern and make laws and be able to manage people better, but it's not a jail, it's not a prison. As a French American citizen, I know I have an open passport to the world, because France has agreement with all the countries of Europe. The United States depends, not so much, at least for visiting, but to come in the United States, this is so difficult. As a French woman married to a military, that was probably the fastest and easiest process of all the immigrants in America. Because I know some friends from South America who were trying to come here as a student visa, for example. They had to do, it was so complicated. But everybody's equal. It doesn't matter where you are born. If you are born, it's not your fault if you're born French or South America or Russian or in Ukraine, and or you're born a Jew or you're born a Christian, and now we're fighting and making wars. Well, if you were born on the other side of the border, you would be the one shooting. I mean, that's just makes no sense. Like, so culture is so important, promoting the arts, promoting dialogue, promoting each other's religions and beliefs, and not having to agree with everything, but allowing people to showing their different points of view, and discussing, okay, so what is the truth? If you're fighting for your religion and I'm fighting for my religion, well, maybe if you're fighting so much about it, what is it that makes you so inspired, so resonating with that story that resonates within you give you hope and make you believe in a higher power? What is it? I want to know. And maybe I can tell you my stuff that inspire me every day, that if I read a prophecy and I see a passage that written and reminds me of an event in my life, it makes me feel like, oh, if it's written in a book, then I must be reassured that this is governed by a higher power, or and then maybe we find out the truth, what is the real version of history, by associating the researches. Because imagine science that is said or known to be the most square thing. There is this stereotype, science on one side and psychic, astrology, and philosophy on the other side, and they are two completely different blocks. However, the first thing that you learn in science is that science is not set. Science is in constant evolution depending on what is the latest findings and technologies that you discovered. So even if one of the most square thing you can find is actually not set, in constant evolution, imagine the rest of the history that we learn and all of that. Next, number 6, excellence. Excellence. Tony Robbins, he says, like, we don't want good, we want excellent, and sometimes fearing like you're not enough or you're not good enough, this imposter syndrome, you can use it as a fuel to become excellent. Because if you don't care, the people who don't care, they don't care about being excellent. And they don't care about people not liking them. You know what I mean? The people who care are the people who have this imposter syndrome, because what is my family going to think about me? What am I going to be up to the task? What can I do better? Like, how can I study this more? Okay, so if I'm going to study this exam, I want for sure to pass, I need to know every single thing of every single word and every single history of that thing. And when they're doing their marketing, it's the same. It's like they read all the people's comments, they watch all the videos, they research, they have their story, they perfect their story. How did people react to this? They're looking at their audience in the video. Why is this person there not listening? Why is this one grumpy? Let's try to make them, happy by the end of this thing. So they see everything, and they're constantly, what is the point of talking to 1 million people online that are all on screens if you're not gonna touch every single one of them? You have this opportunity of being in their living room, literally in their home. So you're entering their soul, their private, their personal bubble, right? And you have this power, this magic. So once they are there in that confident space of yours, I can tell you, when you do Unleash the Power Within or Date with Destiny, or even the digital product systems, Project Next that I followed, you not the same person before you start and after. They align with your lowest points, your fears, your anger, your traumas, and step by step they take all of this and they bring you in the highest vibe, in like you're ready to conquer the world. You're not gonna let anybody dictate you what your dreams are, because if you have these dreams, it's because God gave them to you. Like Trent Shelton says, other people can understand your dreams, and they are the encouragements that you wish your friends and family would give you. So excellence, really, they are excellent, and they expect excellent from people, from the world. And I resonate with that, because I'm tired of seeing crappy homes being built on the side of the road, or of seeing I don't know, people who can't even write cursives, or I don't know, sometimes I make a few mistakes when I write and stuff like that, but in general, I think that the level now with the social media and this quick response I have, I want to research, boom, Google. The people don't make this effort of digging into the knowledge. Everything is given instantly, and so we are losing over the generation. If in one generation that went fast with the Nintendo and the iPads and the phone, but we're losing this tenacity, this perseverance of going for excellence. I want to see castles. I want to see architectures. I want to see details on the walls. I want chandeliers. I want to see tapestries in the schools or in the museums. Like when you go to Wat Phra in Thailand, the main palace, the king palace, and it's all gold and these tapestries, every details, it's so beautiful. Or in Egypt, when you go in the chambers, how do you call it? In the pyramids, in the chambers, and you see the work of these people who dedicated their life sculpting on the walls and writing their story. But everything is art, everything is inspiration, everything is beautiful. And excellence, we need excellence. We need excellence everywhere. We need excellence in writing, we need excellence in art, we need excellence in business. Because okay, you can have a nice life, you can have a nice home and a nice job, and you can just barely pay your bills, and okay, that's middle class, and you should be happy with that. But what people really want is the power. And I believe even if you have even more, but at some point, this was most of the millionaire, when they don't know what to do with their money anymore, what is it that's missing to help others, to make an impact? It's at the soul level that they have to make a difference, okay? But nobody wants to be just there. You want to have a power. Maybe you just want to go drink mojitos on the beach, but you want to have this choice. You want to have a choice. You want to have the power to do it or not to do it. You don't want to be depending. I hate to work for money. If I'm going to work for my job, I would prefer to even work for free, because I love it. I'm feeling like I'm helping people and I'm doing my job, and I don't even care if they fire me or not, because at least I brought my piece of my soul. But when you're working for money, it's different, because you're scared to be fired and you have to listen to supervisors, and it's, so excellence is really going to raise the quality of life of society. Number seven, the revelation. They are magicians. Tony Robbins, he's a magician. So additionally to all of this that I told you, my favorite aspect of Tony Robbins and their team is that they're really magicians. They know how to turn your fear, your angers into fuel, oxygen, not fuel, something renewable, oxygen, right? To, like trees, they convert the negative into the positive, something that gives you the oxygen, the ability to live, to thrive in your life. They have this literacy about ancient wisdom, prophecy, spirituality, and like he was talking one day about the 4 Toltec agreements and all this stuff, because we are in the time of Pachacuti. Pachacuti is the time in history when the eagle and the condor will fly together in the sky, and this is when the world will know peace. So what is the condor and the eagle? The condor, of course, represents South America, is the emblem of Peru. And the eagle as well, they both oversee everything but the eagle represents North America, the technology, the dominance, the power, and the condor represents the wisdom, the nature of the South America. Okay, so nature and technology that are brought together to unify the different worlds. Okay, the skeptics with the hippies pretty much coming together to bridge this gap of society. And now, number 8, because 7, if we're gonna bring heaven on earth, we might as well make it forever. So 8 is the number of infinity. So I did one more. Number eight would be an awesome vice president of the United States. I would be honored beyond words to be with Tony Robbins on this journey, to do politics, to work for ecology. He's more a specialist in economy, business, psychology, so much medicine, health, all this stuff, and I'm more obsessed, let's say, with arts and cultures, ecology, renewable energies. So my international and European background, and him, this achievers mentality. In America, it's a culture of results. We want results. We want to achieve. In Europe, we're not like this. We care about the journey. Okay, am I enjoying my life? I'm not going to save for 50 years if my whole life I'm not enjoying. I want to be able to have this how do you say, consumption power, right? Of being able to go out, to see friends, to travel, to feel like I exist. I'm living a life. I'm not just waiting on my retirement or waiting for my big goal or constantly grinding, So I think we're very different on this aspect, which, like I said before, complementarity. When you have two religions and you're not fighting to prove which one is right, but you're actually working together to find what is the truth, what is the secret formula, the recipe, the perfect recipe. Remember, in science or in spirituality, when two forces join, or when two molecules or two forces or two waves joins, they amplify. Okay, so they create more energy. No, they convert, sorry, you can't create energy, but they convert more energy. Okay, so I believe this is why we'd be a great team of this strategic economy mindset, and the more cultural oriented and artistic. Of course, we're not limited. Okay, they are artists of their craft, but you know what I mean. Really being able to touch every part of the population, the youngs, the conspiracy theorists, the religious people, the Americans, very American conservative cultures, or the more liberals, that is more European mindset, and conservatives, that is really more grounded, right, mindset. So yeah, we've both been through it. He's been mastering this for many years, and I'm just discovering this American society, and I believe that I can bring some things that we have in Europe. Like, for example, in Europe, we walk everywhere. If you don't have a car in Europe, that's okay. You need one, but if you don't have one, that's okay. We have walking streets. We walk everywhere. It's okay to walk for 45 minutes to go from point A to point B, because it's walking streets. You have little cafes, little shops, and while you're walking, you're sightseeing. Here in America is point A to point B with concrete road and a giant truck. And I think that for a lot of people that are from Europe or immigrants from South America, this is really a cultural shock to come here, because there is not as much of a, even though people are really friendly, this is very strange, because in France we may look very cold and rude at first, but once you go through the crust, through the surface, we're actually very profound and very sentimental and very loyal, you know? While in America, I feel like sometimes people look very friendly, very open, over-expressive. Oh my God, I love this! Like, even you feel like people are singing when they're talking. And you hear French people talking, it's like monotone, blah, 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 blah. My ex-husband, he was always like, why are you arguing? I'm like, no, we're not arguing, we're just talking. But then it's more cliquey, like it looks very open-minded and friendly, but then it's more like clicks, and it's more difficult to integrate in a group in America, I feel. That's my own experience, even though I've had friends everywhere I've been, but not the same. I think New Orleans was the friendliest place. And Mississippi, it was different because I was in a military base, so it's like a microcosmos. It's not the real Mississippi. It was really a different atmosphere. But in New Orleans, the people were really friendly and inviting us to all their family things. Yeah, the rest of the places, I don't know, not really. So I had great neighbors in New Orleans. That was really wonderful. But we didn't have the sea, so you see, can never be perfect. But learning how to appreciate what you have, that's also one thing that Tony and Sage always remind me, is relativity, you know? Why are we focusing on what's missing when we should be grateful for everything that we have? And look at what's going on in the world, and then you will really feel grateful for what you are given, what you have right now. There is always worse, but also if you look for worse than you will always find it. But if you look for better, you will always find it too. So it's the balance between being satisfied with being grateful, but also not being content and wanting to be a better version of yourself. And if you're happy with everything in the world, then maybe you don't have to change much of your life. But if a lot of people complain and they don't do anything. Mostly in France, we complain a lot, but we don't really do anything to change it. It is what it is, but we don't like it. And if you're not happy with the world what you have around you, well, maybe it's because you have a role to play to change it, and believing that you can and that you have the power with a team that gives you the capabilities also, this will change the world. This will change a country, okay? Bringing back the kindness, and mostly, but to reconnect with our humanity. We always look for the divinity, but before we can be gods, let's learn to be humans and stop killing each other and start inviting the foreigners in our family, and educating on values, on respect. Respect is big, like educating your kids to be respectful to their teachers, for example, or to their toys, for example, the things we give them. Like, it's like I said, it's instant, everything instant, and we're losing this perseverance. Kind of old school, but anyways, I would like to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this talk, that you can see how really Tony Robbins would be an amazing president that will continue the work of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and their administration, building solar stations, continuing the technology, the renewable technologies, supporting the small businesses, all of this already exists. They already started this. Obama, he had to clean up the space after all Bush's mess, and then, well, Joe Biden, he came in the pandemic, so that wasn't the easiest too, but now they are just starting implementing all this new era that responds to the urgent needs of the climate change and all of this stuff. So now you need to have a government that continues this. You can't have, I think it's not even realistic to have Donald Trump, for example, or what are they, Republicans, whatever they call themselves, that is completely opposite to what's going on right now, because there are a lot of good stuff happening, and they're just gonna give up on all this stuff and focus on new stuff. But by always starting new things, you don't ever achieve and reach to the feeding billion people, So the continuity, of course, there would be a lot of work to do in international relations. I personally would like to be specialized in international relationship with Russia and China, because they're separating the world right now. Of course, a multipolar world is possible. It doesn't need to have one force that is the United States of America and everything else is smaller, but this is not like this anymore. Europe is a force, Russia is a force, but it doesn't mean that we need to be at war with each other. So really re-establishing this gap so they can stop destroying what's in the middle, and having religious conventions. Something really great that I saw from one of my friend from Bahrain that was working at the Ministry of Culture. He went to an event at the Vatican, where they had leaders, the Pope, and Buddhists and Jews. I'm sorry, I don't know all the names, but leaders from every religion who came and to celebrate God together in one of these events. This is something that I believe is great for acceptance and discussions, and putting in the media, right, that this is how we act. Imagine these people, they should be the most separated. The Pope and a Buddhist or a Jew or a Muslim, if these leaders were 100%, 1000% in their religion, are able to come together with others from other religion, because they're smart enough to know that in the end God is one, and the very same thing for everybody is the force that created us all, that gives us hope, that gives us makes us believe in a higher power, maybe to help us conquer a fear of dying. Like, this is the greatest fear of everybody, to die. Even if you believe in reincarnation and you love this life that you build, or even you love your children, or there's one thing that you love, and you're scared of what's next. I will never have this again. Death is the scariest thing. This is why we have to enjoy your life so much, because you have it only once. Maybe you will come back in another life, but you will have a different body, you will have a different relationship with people, maybe in a different place, So maybe that's why people believe in God, because this is helping them counterbalance their fear of dying, thinking that they're going someplace after they die. And the only way we can be sure of that is when it happens. You can be spiritual, religious, a scientist. The only way you will be sure is when you experience it. So everybody has their own way of dreaming it to make it to the end and finding the God, the people, the family, the style that makes you design your life like a piece of art. So yes, let's bring back humanity, the arts, the poetry, the kindness, the craziness. Don't make us believe that we always have to love each other and be all peace and love, because this is not true. I don't know anybody who's like this, or maybe, but are they really? I don't know. If you fight with your children, then you know that sometimes even fighting is a proof of trust. Not talking about killing people, right? But I'm talking about relationship. Being yourself. Like censorship nowadays, you can't talk about work because it's privacy and you're maybe damaging the image of the work. You can't talk about negatively about, or say as a teacher you can't say anything like, or you can use certain words. You cannot use the word animals. Cannot use the word because it's racist. You cannot use the word stupid because it's insulting, even if you're not saying it to a student. But if like that's crazy. That is crazy. Being a teacher, as a vice president, I will build a ministry of happiness, and there will be inspectors, my happiness inspectors, that are gonna go to every corporations and schools and mostly places where they're taking care of children and older people who can't really talk for themselves, without a third person, right? Because what they're doing to teachers, like, that is crazy. That's like, I'm grateful for the job and the opportunity, and I feel like I can make an impact, but it's all the barriers that I put around you. You can talk about chakras, you can talk about the flower of life, you can talk about nothing. It's like you have to stick with the curriculum and stay in that lane. So of course, if you're already staying in that lane from school, imagine the mentality when you're coming out of there and you have a religion or whatever. My students, they always ask me questions about witchcraft. Are you a witch? Why? Because I wear those necklaces, right? And I paint sacred geometry. So I have a student, he's always asking, are you a witch? Do you curse people? And I'm like, it depends. Like, I'm being funny about it, but of course I answer, in a funny way. I'm like, well, what is spelling? Spelling is the power of your words, the manifestation power of your words. Remember, when you're speaking, there is a vibration. You are converting an energy, your energy from plants, energy from the sun that's been converting by plants that you eat, that converts in energy in your body. What are you doing with this energy? You're converting it into an electromagnetic waves of words that you're putting out there. That's it. I'm putting out a word, a verb, and electromagnetic waves into the universe. So that is spelling. Okay, that's manifestation. And I explain it to them, and they always ask me questions. But why? Because they're curious. Maybe because at home they can't ask the questions, or maybe other places. So they asking all these questions. But yes, because you want to get out of the box, or talking about the flower of life while you're talking about the mitosis. The kids did that. I did not suggest it. The kids, of course, I showed them the flower of life doing the mitosis, but she's like, oh, but we should do it on the flower of life, the presentation. I was like, oh, such a good idea, because they made a connection with something else. And then I got a disciplinary action because the flower of life was in one of the presentations, and I understand that some parents, because there was a story of some parents that the beginning of the year, I talked about the chakras on Class Dojo, and some parents wrote to me that, I was going to be indoctrinating their kids in stuff that don't exist and things. So I was like, ooh, okay, whatever. Sorry, guys. I'm going in my thing, but this is when I realized that is amazing experience for me to be with those young teenagers, because I can see what is in how they're raised, what are their values, what are their parents' behaviors, what is tolerated, what is being taught, what is forbidden to be taught. How can we make better conditions for the teachers, less pressure maybe. And of course, when you work with kids, you always have the pressure. You have the safety is the most important. You have the responsibility of actually educating them. If I'm sending my kid to school and he's not learning anything, as a parent, I'm gonna be mad. So the pressure on teachers is unbelievable. I believe that every classroom should have 2 teachers. Every classroom, no matter what grade, no matter the age, no matter the topic, every class should have 2 teachers. One that can teach, both should be able to teach, but one that is there to deal with emergencies and discipline. Imagine 2 kids start fighting, or one of them has a asthma crisis. This is all stuff I've had in my classroom. Someone has asthma, he can't breathe, or 2 are fighting, or someone falls, or there is a student that is struggling, he does not understand, he needs a one-to-one. What do I do when I'm with this one person who needs me with the rest of the 20 kids? They start talking, they start being loud, they start standing up, and the class is lost. So there are super teachers that can do everything, and all at once. But as for ensuring quality, you need to have 2 teachers per classroom. That is also a budget that would have to be invested in that. So maybe taking the budget that is invested in the oil industry and re-injecting it into education. That would be a great solution. Or re-injecting this budget on oil into renewable energies. And for education, would take from something else. But establishing, priorities. And like I said, I'm very impressed and respectful of the work that's being done already. They're building new solar stations. Electric stations at all the gas stations, which means this is going to be the next step. And then we're going to forbid the construction of oil-powered cars. Once all the infrastructure is ready, now you can build more electric cars or solar-powered cars. With solar-powered cars, they won't even need charging stations. That is the one step even further. But we cannot keep building oil-based cars. If we know it's bad for the environment, why is it allowed? Plastic, I understand, because plastic have revolutionized the world in terms of diseases, conservation of food. For food, and sometimes when you see that they're wrapping an orange in plastic, who are you kidding? And you go to Walgreens. I think hell on earth is freaking Walgreens. Sorry guys, Walgreens. Everything in Walgreens is plastic. Everything, like a toothbrush, there's this giant thing of plastic for one little toothbrush. Every single thing, like a soap, first the whole soap itself is in a plastic box, right? But this same plastic box, it's wrapped in another layer of plastic. You're like, what? I'm eating the plastic? What in the world? That's unbelievable. There is abuse. So if you're not going to consume it, you don't need to have plastic on it. Okay? Even the soap bottle, the bottle of soap itself, either you take like the square, it's a little paper around it, or you could do a recyclable or a biodegradable cardboard kind of thing. You put the soap in there. The soap is not going to last more than 6 months. I don't know the size or how many people you have in your family, but you don't use that much. So it's not like you need something that's going to be able to keep it for years. So there's still some stuff to forbid right away at the source, because now we're trying to recycle plastic. Like we get mountains of plastic to be recycled, while if we would go at the source right away, who is building plastic? Now you need a permit before you use plastic in your business. I've never used plastic in my art business, or maybe when I wrap it to send it out, because I don't want to break the frame. And still I made efforts on that. If I could wrap it around a fabric or something, I would do that. But a UPS, oh, they love plastic. They wrap like a painting like this. Like they would wrap that thing like the whole box of cardboard is full of plastic just for a little painting. And I was like, oh, guys, like, you're going to give me a bad reputation. Because... yeah, no, but that's too much. That's too much. So yeah, forbidding at the source. Okay, so we're more responsible when we consume. Okay, well, maybe one day I will write all the new solutions, like new laundry detergents. Get these little square things that avoid you to use this giant plastic jug. There's a lot of solutions that need to be mass distributed. You know what I mean? Once you find the solution, the new best solution, stop building the other one. Laundry detergent, for example, we have the new best solution is these little sheets, like I was saying, of laundry detergent. That works. I've tried them. That works. But now the problem, I still buy the other one because I'm at the store. That's the only thing available. And I'm lazy. I don't want to go on my phone and order stuff, put my credit card and everything. So I tried that thing once. I didn't order again. And I'm still using the jug of laundry that I found at the store. And every time I'm like, oh, I'm stupid. But I still do it. Why? Because it's available. So now we have the new best thing. The other one, sorry you guys, you got to change your distribution system or you're going to close your business. And all the new, there's a lot of small businesses and new ideas that are amazing. And because they don't have the marketing, they don't have the investors, these are ideas that just fade out, you know. And so the small business are so important, because there is a monopoly of these jugs of laundry detergent. Doesn't mean that this is the way to go. Someone came up with this thing, that we get to switch to that. Okay, and now they're investing in lithium because this is how they build the batteries for the new electric cars. But the electric cars, they work from, you still have to plug them in. So they also rely on power plants. So it would mean that the power plant itself has to be perfectly renewable, like solar powered or wind powered, even though I'm not in favor of the wind powered, right? The wind things, the wind turbines. I'm not in favor of that. But the solar, as long as they have a good recycling plan. When someone came for the solar here, I asked him, first thing, I was like, what do you do with the solar panels at the end of their lives? He says they don't have an end of their life. They can last 50 years, so we haven't been confronted to that problem yet. I was like, yes, but in 10 years from now, there will be a new technology that's going to be more efficient, that's going to require less materials than the solar panel. And everybody who within the next 10 years is going to install solar panel, these people are going to have to get rid of them. So what is your recycling plan with all of these solar panels? And he was like, nobody ever asked me this question. Like, are they going to end up in the landfill? Or it's like, that's a great question. Yeah, we send them back to Italy. I don't know. He wasn't really sure, you know. But for sure, now the next step is we're going to have solar energy cars. So we're not even going to need to have them plugged in. Okay, so you'll shortcut it. They're still going to need the batteries though, the lithium batteries, because the solar, it's not sunny all the time. If you want your car to function at night, it needs to gather the energy from the sun and store it as potential energy in the lithium batteries. So that's still going to be, you know, electric cars and solar powered cars. We're going to be with that for a while. But then when we have my anti-gravity formula and completely renewable sound vibration formula, all the aircraft, everything that works with levitation and in the air is also going to be replaced by this technology. So we're going to be able to convert. We're not going to recycle. We're not going to toss all the aircraft store. We're going to recycle the materials to make new ones. When I look at the spacecraft, you see the difference between movies, when you have like the round, super neat looking spacecraft with like the commander on his seat, and they have these automatic doors opening and super shiny and stuff in there. And the reality when you have, you know, the astronauts in this little tiny room there, and there's like cables everywhere, and they're flying, and there's no gravity, and they're flying, and you're like, oh my god, are they going to touch something? Like, disconnect a cable? Is this thing safe? Like, and there's still like a part of it that falls in the ocean, and the combustion, and like, I mean, the progress that they're doing, I'm following. I'm a big fan of NASA, the information they are sharing, and I'm impressed. I'm following, but at I feel like there is a dissonance between where we are right now in the 21st century and their aircrafts. Like, don't you? I don't know. I feel like it's still these things from like the 50s. Have we really evolved a lot? Well, this is kind of new. This is not even, because they still had all these operations not even a long time ago that blew up during takeoff. And so we're still experimenting these models of aircraft that are now functionals. We don't hear so many accidents anymore. They are now being functionals to go to space. So how long is it got this sci-fi vision that we see in The Fifth Element, so all these movies of these spacecraft that just levitate like this, and what is the time frame? My time frame in my mind, we're gonna have this by 2030, because we want to do the Space Olympics 2030. Instead of shooting each other with missiles and nuclear weapons, we're gonna do the Space Olympics. It's gonna be aircraft and with lasers, and we can make it competitive and fun, and we're not polluting because it's laser, it's light, and we're not burning or killing anybody, and there could be giant grants for the winners of the Space Olympics. They, you know, to invest into their next spaceship. So things that are really interesting, motivating for those big organization, to encourage them, inspire them to transition. So yeah, it's we have the drawings, we have the ideas, we have the equations. I'm pretty sure they're already on it. Like, I don't think I made that up. I probably channeled it, and other scientist channeled it too. I don't think, who could not think of it? That's the question. That is so obvious. Any scientist that is working with aircrafts, and they're probably already building it. Maybe Area 51 That will be the first place I go to visit. Area 51, they studied this and have it, and there is those rumors that there is this underground train that's super fast, or so I believe there are technologies that we have that we're not aware of as a public. So I think the only stopper, why is this not already mass distributed, is because the monopoly of the big corporations. Imagine you invest billions of dollars into building some types of aircrafts, or let's take an example, American Airlines, for example, billions of dollars, trillions probably, I don't know, in building aircrafts that cover the entire world. From a day to another, you're going to tell them, okay, this is not good for the environment, this stuff cannot fly anymore, this is it, you have to change all of your aircrafts for new, totally renewable vessels. I don't think they're gonna like it. At least the boss at that moment is not gonna like it. Imagine the amount of money he's gonna lose and the new investment he's gonna have to do. Like, the company goes bankrupt. So it's gotta be new companies that start building those to take over, or having a progression, being like, okay, now 1/3, American Airlines, 1/3 of your aircraft are being confiscated for a transition, an upgrade. Okay, and so they put this 1/3, they upgrade. When these are things, you take another third. So it would have still to be progressive. So you don't just put, very useful and efficient companies that just cover the world to put them out of business. You can't do that either, because you're damaging your own quality of life. But in the end, the environment and the I think even the director of American Airlines, I don't know who that is, but if they have kids, they care about the air that their grandkids are going to breathe. So it's not a negotiation of if we're going to do it, it's a negotiation of how fast are we going to do it. And so yeah, that's exciting. That is exciting. I feel like we have so much power to make this world, like right now, to make this world like the dream vision, the utopia that we have. I'm not in favor of this like complete city of the future with aircraft and car flying all around. Imagine the mess. But at least upgrading the aircrafts that work on combustion and the cars that we have on ground to make them completely clean. Then the power plants, making them all solar. And then like the Biden administration, what they're doing right now to limit the production of what was it? I don't know what kind of not nitrogen. Well, that was another component that they're putting new regulations to limit that as well. So it's happening. Imagine in the 19th century, or when they had the plague, all these diseases, that was just like, people were dirty, they didn't have hot water, like how limited. It's like basic survival. Like the dream of people was to understand genetics, how the reproduction works, understand it, how you can heal basic diseases that don't even exist anymore, like measles. Like they're like, oh my god, measles is back. Yeah, okay, everybody had measles when we were a kid, that's okay, that's not, but now it doesn't even exist anymore. We have all the progress of the medicine, we have all the quality of life, hot water, not everybody. Now the goal is to make it for everybody. So goal number one, we have the technology. So the goal number 1 is to make it available to everybody. And then the goal number 2 is to make it now the utopia, like architecture and beauty everywhere. A renewable, completely sustainable society where the fruits that you eat, they give you the best health, the best nutrients. So in the end, yes, baby.
How do you spell piston?
Piston?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Piston.
Piston?
Yeah.
What is that for? The what was I saying? Making it available for everybody. And oh yeah, to make it that the food that we eat, that would be like the best food that gives you the best nutrients, and as a consequence of that, your health is extraordinary. You don't even need the medicine anymore. Just simple plants are becoming good for you. Now it's the opposite. We're going in a non-sustainable way, which means that our immune system can't keep up with how the climate is changing. The composition, the quality of the air is changing too fast compared to our lungs in one generation. We can't adapt in one generation. There's no adaptation in one generation. Adaptation happens in 2 or 3 or more generations. So if the climate changes faster, then we're no longer in equilibrium, balance with our environment, and so we need something external like medicine to complement, to help us fight it. Okay, so that's the law of reciprocity, that's shaping, mutual shaping, or whatever you call it. I'm not sure. So how the environment and humanities are shaping each other. I wanted to say something important. Okay, so thank you for watching, everybody. I wanted to make this a 10 minutes video, but it ended up being 1 hour and 20 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed this, that you will take part of these elections to vote for the change you want to see in the world, and the people who inspire you and represent you, and giving us the capabilities, right, the position of power to do it. Right now, from my home, besides talking, I can't do much. If I'm at the White House and I can meet the right people, and I can have my say in the laws and visit what's going on in those with the engineers, all of this, then this is how the ideas that we share can be manifested. Okay, I know that the progress is local at the individual level. This is how we build the world and the network, but you also need to have the right people that make up the rules, because that day you receive a paper from your taxes or a paper from this, the Medicare, you'll think, oh, this has changed, now you're screwed. Like, this matters. The people that you have as leaders, they matter. They are the ones who sign the rules, and then you're the one who's paying that in your taxes. So, or that you see the difference in the neighborhood, you know, so good or bad, it matters. Yeah, there's so many people that are so scary. Like, educate yourself, guys. Even if you're like, you don't know who to vote for, then educate yourself, make your research. Who is this person? What have they done? What is their mindset? How do they talk about other people? Are they respectful? Are they what is their personality? Are they perfect? Probably not, but are they trying to make an impact, or um, is it just someone who wants to be at the power because they want the power? It's like an ego thing. Or is it someone who's been working all of their lives trying to make a difference here and make a difference there, and then they got there because they were simply the most qualified person and experimented with the best network to make it there? I'm thinking of Joe Biden. He was a vice president for Barack Obama, and Kamala Harris, that she was working as well. I think she was a governor of California, or she already had a background in politics. So these are people who are experimented. Now, when you look at Tony Robbins, that no matter what he did it in a way that he was trying to help other people, knowing that he didn't even need to do it. So that's a soul thing. Like when I look at Joe Biden or Tony Robbins, like they're like family to me. It's like my grandpa and grandma, and Tony and Dean, they're like, hey, mom and dad. Like, it's like my parents or my uncles, or these people that feel like they care, man, they're trying to change the world. They want to do good. These are, or at least they are the people that you wish that you had in your family. Then I see others that just want to be there for the power and to prove something to themselves. So of course everybody does, but I'm thinking of Russia and why do you want to invade a country to have more territory? Like this is like, what do you need to prove? Like when you hear him talk, it's like, we have the best nuclear missiles, we have the best army, like we want to win. And it's just like, they take life as a game. Like they want to show who's the best at battlefield, except that it's real life and it's real people that you're dealing with, that have families, that have kids. It's tax money that we're investing in weapons for y'all's little games. So be mindful of all this when you're voting. And of course, you can't, it's difficult, it's always technical. Watch my previous videos if you want to know about my point of view on the nuclear weapons and stuff like that. The videos I did for the United Nations, you can't, it's difficult to get involved in a conflict when all the countries involved in the conflicts, they have nuclear weapons, because that can degenerate really quickly. So that's kind of why you have to be supportive, but at the same time back off a little bit. And so it's never, if it was so simple, there would be no war in the world. So my opinion is that the only way that those wars can stop for Ukraine and Russia is to have agreements and reestablish relationships with Russia, have, of course, new elections, because he's been in power for a long time, so it's now an authoritarian regime. You can go in a country and, you can capture someone to have them, bring them to justice, but that's, like I said, very tricky and dangerous, because we're both dealing with nuclear weapons. So you can deny that Russia and China, they're huge territories, and they also have their progress. They're making progress in solar energies and electric trains and all this stuff. So there is good in there. There is good in their culture as well. So this should be solved at the top, with establishing dialogue with the leaders. For Palestine, it's different. I think for when it's like terrorists, like you have to take them out of the surface. Like, you can't really talk with terrorists because we're not in the same dimension. So you can't have, it's like I can't have a language, a conversation. You can't create something from I don't know, a dog and a bird. Like, it's two different dimension. It's impossible. You can't make someone who's able, if just one person is able to kill people, rape women and children, and destroy cities. Like, there is something missing in the brain. Like, this is physical. It's not even a matter of mindset. It's like they're diminished. It's not, they don't deserve their place on earth. Like, if you can mass killing people, then you cannot be I can't even like put this into word. Like, you can talk with these people. There is only ways to find them all, and no, knock 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 knock, may I come in? No, you take custody of their existence, and you solve the war, right? And then you make sure that the people that stay are educated, and the new generation don't ever let this happen. And now, in terms of rebuilding, well, I hope that the sound technology will help lifting the debris, and that we can rebuild magnificent cities as they deserve it. Maybe right now what's happening is horrible and there's loss of lives, and we should never accept that, but maybe 20 years from now everything will be rebuilt, and these people will have the new best architectures, the new best technologies, because it was rebuilt at the time when the whole world decided to go green and finding the most efficient possible. And we will say, well, you know what, we're going to start with them because they've been struggling for so long. They deserve to be the first one that we're going to invest into, and to live in a palace, and to have the best cars and all this stuff. Let's start there. Why not? I don't care if it starts here. I care that it starts somewhere, because the atmosphere is the same for the whole planet. So you just got to start somewhere. So you might as well start where it's needed, and not start with those who already have it all. Just a suggestion. We say the poles are shifting, but maybe it's not just maybe it's also a society thing. Maybe the world that were developing countries and that suffered earthquakes, natural disasters, wars, drought, even Africa, all this stuff that we've been taking from them, but they've been the ones living in poverty. Maybe these are the ones that we should start with and give back, so they can be like, okay, well, we're giving you the best now, show us your best of your culture. We want to know about your religion. We want to know about your culture. What is your traditions? Make it amazing, and do celebrations like in harmony with the cycles of the nature. Let us come and let the United Nations come and educate on new things as well. Mixing the cultures and the traditions. All of this. There is so much to do. I could talk for hours. But anyways, I would like to wish everybody a beautiful year 2024. Let's gather. Let's change the world. Let's finish the work. Meet up, find our soul families, reach our missions, our purpose, become the best version of ourselves, be present with the ones that are here, be grateful, take no shit, establish boundaries, be crazy, be yourself, dye your hair, I don't know, just be tolerate each other, love, of course, each other, art and knowledge, and whoop, Tony Robbins 2024.